Okay. Wait, we're good.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Okay, now we're good. Sorry. Welcome to the very first episode of the Lead Engine, a podcast hosted by LeadVision. If you don't know who we are a digital marketing agency located here in Charlotte, North Carolina, and we are focused specifically on lead generation. So we sell leads to buyers within many different verticals, including heavy machinery, forklifts, or commercial sweepers, scrubbers, long distance moving, hot tubs, and a bunch of other verticals. And we created this podcast just sort of as a tool for other business folks who might be interested in lead buying, or maybe are buying leads currently and looking for ways to sort of optimize their current system. So today we're gonna take it back to the basics. We're just gonna talk about how to work a lead. So sharing their insights with us today, we have David Teifer, our CEO. We have Taylor Moore, our customer service manager. We got Alex Springs, our VP of revenue generation, and Trevor Gordonier, our sales manager. And I'm Lily, our digital content specialist. So, David, I'm going to start with you. We're just going to go super basic. What is your definition of a good lead?
I would say a good lead is any contact that comes to fill out our form on our website that has a valid phone number and that is interested in buying a product or service that one of our vendors is offering.
All right. Anyone else have anything to add to that?
That about covers it.
All right.
Sums it up.
And what about, how has that definition changed over time? Has it changed for you?
Yeah, I think it has. I would say in the past, with the definition I just gave you, probably stands true for a very long time. Mm-hmm. But based on the new verticals that we've jumped into, I believe that their expectations are much higher of what is a good or qualified lead. Mm-hmm. I think that includes things like setting appointments. So there's an appointment rate, there's a closing rate. So in other words, for every number of thousands of dollars that they spent in advertising, they have to generate a certain amount of revenue off those leads, mm-hmm. cost of marketing. So I think now the definition, specifically as it applies to like home remodeling categories, mm-hmm. it's just much more stringent. So.
Okay. And so, Alex, for somebody who might be new to lead buying, what are some of the complexities of generating high quality leads?
Well, I feel like there's a lot that goes into it. We're not the only company that's generating these leads, right? So we're actively competing against all of the companies that we're selling these leads to, as well as the other lead vendors that are out there that are trying to generate that same lead. So I think it really comes down to just having a healthy source mix, right? Having a number of different avenues to where we can generate different levels of intent to drive that traffic to our sites. And we do a good job of having a really solid marketing team and business development team that we get feedback from our buyers, and we look at the quality of each of these sources to try to generate a solid lead for our partners or our lead buyers, and still turn a profit for ourselves as well.
Sure. Yeah, so David, what kind of things are sort of built into our system automatically to sort of filter out some of those leads that might not be of that intent that our buyers are looking for?
We have a couple of ways we can try to flag an invalid lead or a low quality lead. Mm-hmm. One of those is going to be real phone validation, which is going to score the quality of a landline just to see if it's, number one, if it's a live number, a real number, yeah. See if it's tied to a particular person. The second way that we do that is through kill filters, which is something our web developer built for us. And it flags things like profanity or certain weird names like the Incredible Hulk or Jesus Christ or some of the many others that you've probably seen. Yeah. And then weird combinations of numbers like 555-1212 and other things like that. And then last, some of the people that want to put a lead through will either chat with our customer service team, mm-hmm. or they'll call the numbers and they'll be able to speak with them in like real time. Mm-hmm. So that helps the intent, I think, a little bit. Certainly doesn't stop any invalid lead from getting through, but mm-hmm. those are some of the ways in which we do it.
Sure. So talking about leads that might slip through the cracks in terms of quality, Taylor, what sort of things are you doing on your end in the event a lead gets flagged or gets marked as pending?
Yeah, so like David said, we have real phone validation that spits out a score for a lead. So it's not going to just say like yes or no, this is a good lead. It's going to kind of rate it based on just, scouring the internet, seeing if the phone number is a valid phone number or if it's disconnected. And rather than just flat out rejecting it, our system is going to flag it as invalid or pending, and my team, we call through those to see if it actually is a bad phone number. Technology is not perfect, so sometimes leads get flagged and it's a perfectly good lead. A lot of times too, with that kill filter that David mentioned, words get flagged that are associated with invalid leads, but they're not necessarily invalid. I always like to give the example, the word hell in Michelle. It's a totally normal name, but our system can't differentiate between, profanity and someone's name. So rather than just flat out reject that, they come to my team so that we can go through them and push through as many as we can, and then obviously try to stop anything from getting through to our customers.
Yeah.
I just wanted to add one thing to that
Yeah.
too. We see some very interesting combinations of words at times. I
Yeah.
think we can agree. Sometimes it's actually really fun, but sometimes it's pretty profane too.
And I think when I first started here 5 years ago, most of our pending and invalid leads were just like trolls on the internet, like just putting something stupid in, like Incredible Hulk or Mickey Mouse. And now we have like the added layer of AI and bots and stuff like that, so we have to like take it a little bit more seriously, but we still get a laugh out of some pretty
Some are
interesting
great.
names.
Yeah. I think that brings up a good question. So, like, in the future, what sort of things do you see us adding to those existing filters that maybe we can do on our end to continue to improve that lead quality?
Things to add. Ugh. I wasn't really ready for that one.
Sorry,
would
I
say-
just threw you a curveball.
No, that's all right. I would say something probably AI. Something
Well-
that can actually call the leads for us.
There's a lot of different ways to continue to kind of nurture those leads and filter them out, and I think that's something that me and the business development team, sometimes David, when you're with us at some of these conferences we go to, the affiliate summits, leads cons, things like that, that there's a lot of new technology that's out there, right? There's fraud prevention, bot detection. There's a new AI tool every day, it seems like, to be able to go through these things. So, growing with it, exploring with it, and trying new things out as they go to kind of try to be ahead of the curve as much as we possibly can. And as concerns kind of arise, we'll find ways to work around it. So.
Yeah.
But every layer you add increases the CPA. So we have to keep that in mind that, well, we can try all sorts of new different things, but doing that ultimately, just increases bounce rate, increases cost.
Sure.
And there's limitations because we only have so much of a margin built into those leads. So.
Yeah.
I think we also are kind of staying on top of it as best we can right now. We have like trusted form on our home remodeling leads, and I think it's pretty obvious if someone filled our form out in like 2 seconds that it's probably not a human being.
Yeah.
So I think we're doing what we can right now, and eventually the bots are going to get super advanced and we're going to have to step it up.
Yeah,
But I think we're doing a good job of keeping it in check right now.
Yeah. I kind of want to talk more on the benefit side. So for someone who might not be as familiar with, what lead generation is and the benefits of it. So what is our benefit of being able to attract and get these like high quality leads? So people who have that high intent and are ready to potentially make a purchase. Like what benefit does that give our buyers?
Well, I mean, it's someone who's interested in their products, right? I mean, that's really the name of our game. We're trying to be a matchmaker, right? There's someone that's out there that has some sort of a need. They're looking for a product or a service, and we're connecting them to those folks within our dealer network or our lead buyers, and just giving them, a bigger net to cast at the end of the day. All of these companies that we work with are advertising in some form or fashion, and in a lot of cases very similar to us. They're on Google, they're using social media, they're doing a number of different things, but they're only getting what they're getting, right? So if we can get them stuff that they're missing and there's opportunities there, that's the whole value of our service.
Sure.
And on the sales side, every day we will talk to people who are, hesitant to try our services because they've been put off by, lead generation services in the past who give them quantity over quality. So a lot of bad leads, and it's our job the quality of our leads is what we use to differentiate ourselves from the competition.
Sure.
So making sure that we are giving them high intent, high quality leads is how we, maintain a high level of trust in our brand.
Sure. Yeah, Taylor, I want to ask you, so I assume that when things are flagged or disputes are high, that can maybe cause some rifts in some of our client-partner relationships. How do you navigate those situations where someone might be unhappy with the quality that they're getting?
Yeah, like Alex mentioned earlier, we try our best to have a healthy source mix, and I think that really gives us the room to make changes when somebody's upset. So, when a customer reaches out to my team with concerns, the first thing that we're going to do is ask for some examples so we can see where it's coming from, and usually we can track down a trend, and then I'm going to bring that to my marketing team and let them know, like, hey, this campaign's not working so great, I think we need to change something. And that gives us the tools to, offer a customer a solution quickly. And I think that's super important to, let the customer know I hear you and I'm doing something about it. And I also think it helps that myself and OG Jordan, we have two Jordans, we've both been here for 4 and 5 years, so our customers are reaching out to us, they know us, and we've helped them in the past, and they know we're going to help them again in the future.
Kind of add on to that too, it really comes down to expectations, right? We talk about on the sales team a lot. Trevor and I talk with the sales guys about this all the time. David and I talk about it, but at the end of the day, if you're setting the expectations with these lead buyers, that they're not all going to be perfect at the end of the day. Even if every one of them's the golden ticket lead, it doesn't mean they're all buying from you. They could be buying from someone else. So we like to look at it as it's the full picture, right? If you got a lot of leads from us, if we're meeting your KPIs, there's going to be stuff that slips through the cracks. And at the end of the day, as long as we're making you a return on investment and we've got a little bit of room for profit in there for ourselves, then we see that as a pretty fair trade-off.
Yeah,
So.
I think that's a really good point that you brought up. So I think a lot of times we think of like that sort of quantity over quality.
Sure.
And especially in a place where leads are maybe getting sent to multiple buyers and they have to on their end close the lead, like how is that something that is like part of the onboarding process? Is like you walk them through what that looks like, of like, okay, so a lead came in, now how do I actually follow up with them? Like, what is that part of our process?
It's part of what we do on the sales side.
Okay.
When we are bringing people on, we make sure that they know, a lot of these leads are competitive. And even the ones that we sell exclusively are never going to be truly exclusive because other people are generating leads as well.
Sure.
So, the quicker you work it, the better results you're going to see.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you've got a good sales staff who is on top of it and working them right as they come in, you're going to see better results than someone who gets a lead on Friday afternoon and says, I'll get to it on Monday. And so it is an expectation that we set so that people know, hey, speed to lead is the most important thing in this business. So when we get it to you, you've got to work it.
And then that continues on with customer service.
Yeah, the sales team, the expectation for them is to set the expectation for our customers, so it's not a shock when they start getting leads and it's like, wait, what, I was supposed to call these right away? What? Of course, sometimes it doesn't really click with customers, and that's when they come to us, but again, we're just going to give them the same expectations that they heard the first go around, got to call these leads. And we always try to do it without, offering unsolicited sales advice, because these people are salesmen, saleswomen themselves, so we don't want to step on anyone's toes and tell them how to do their jobs.
Yeah.
But we try to give everybody the best tools to work our leads.
So I guess jumping back a little bit to, I know you were talking about our mix of the different channels. Is there one channel that you think is more efficient in bringing in that quality of lead that a lot of our buyers are looking for?
There are sources that have, they're deeper in the funnel, more intense than others. But unfortunately, you can't just rely on those sources because they're also the most expensive. So it really requires like a bit of a balancing act between all of them. Social, search, native, display, SMS, email, wherever they're coming from, you need them all.
Sure.
And it's not to say that like a certain lead with lower intent can't convert, because they can. It's just probably going to happen with a lower frequency. But at the end of the day, we need that full source mix in order to get a profit out of it. So yeah, I do think some sources are going to be higher intent if built right. Search would be one of them. We have certain partners that we work with on the BD side where they're generating leads through a mix of search and organic. And I think that's going to be your highest intent. I think social is somewhere in the middle. I think email and SMS, if used properly, they can be right alongside social in some ways. But it changes. It really depends upon the vertical.
Okay.
At least that's my thing.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, again, source mix at the end of the day, and it's not just everything that we do here. David kind of mentioned it. We've got a lot of different partners and media buyers and other lead vendors that push stuff to us, and I think, is it always efficient? I maybe not. There's a lot of just not necessarily research, but a lot of trial and error with some of this stuff, right? If we work with a new partner, if we try new campaigns, or there's new ways that we're advertising. One of the things that we try really hard to do is make sure that we're testing everything as much as we possibly can to see what works really well. And the best part about being a really, like a smaller company is we can pivot and we can be super flexible really quickly and find out if something's working well and boost that. If it's not working well, we'll nix it. So
Much like we're trying to help buyers cast a very wide net and bring in more leads, we are casting a very wide net ourselves just to find them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Going back to the sources, though, I mean, if that's where like disposition reports are super important, right? Like some of our clients will give us this report that kind of tells us the status of where they are with each lead. Well, if that's the case and it shows a trend, like search quality is in the garbage, well, okay, well, let's discontinue that, or we can make those adjustments.
Okay.
Now, if we have that on the forklift side, that would be tremendous, but we don't. We have it in home remodeling categories.
Okay.
But again, their KPIs are different too,
Yep.
right? So with home services, there's a lot more things that they're looking to hit with, material handling, forklifts, construction equipment. They want to see their profit versus their spend in some cases.
Yep.
So
Are we making money or are we not? So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of money, can you talk us through a little bit of our pay per lead model and sort of like how that works?
Sure. I mean, we generate a
How it
lead
sells, yeah.
and we sell it. At the end of the day, there's a lot of different models that are out there. We've talked to a lot of different companies that, they might be interested in something like a cost per appointment or a cost per sale. And what we found is that the tried and true methods, CPL, cost per lead model, has worked best for us because we're not relying on another company for our paycheck, right? At the end of the day, we could give them fantastic leads and we can't control that they pick up the phone and work these leads with urgency. So we found that, while some customers might prefer to, hey, I'll pay you more for every sale we get, or we'll pay you on these appointments or sets, we just see that there's less urgency, and not with all of our buyers, right? Not with all of our clients that we've worked with, but there's definitely less urgency when they don't have as much skin in the game. So they're paying for leads, we're generating leads that cost us money, and we believe that it leads to them working those leads harder. They're making more touches when they can't get in front of them the first time or first attempt, and we think they see better success and probably end up spending less than what they would if they were paying by appointment or by sale. So
I agree. I think there's probably a lot more urgency with a CPL model than there would be if it was a kind of commission based where they would pay us by sales. Because, the salespeople, when they see those leads come in, they think, all right, this is an awesome opportunity, but somebody up the chain looks at it and they see money spent. So they are going to make sure that those salespeople are working them probably with more urgency than the leads that they're uncovering themselves because they're actively buying these leads. So, if we were to give them out and just say, hey, kick us back when you sell something, there's no skin in the game. There's no urgency, there's no built-in reason for them to work our leads at all, really. So paying up front just makes it a much more feasible business model for what we do.
Makes sense. So I know that, I guess we did kind of talk about disputes already, but I want to talk about in a situation where we have a client partner and someone who is getting a good amount of leads coming in, but on their side they're not able to close them, and they might attribute it to maybe the quality being bad. how do you navigate those conversations? Because again, like, we can only do so much on our end to ensure that we're reaching the right people. So like, I guess, how do you navigate a situation where someone's unhappy?
Yeah, so, if somebody reaches out to us and they're upset, or if we notice that their disputes are getting kind of high, the first thing I'm going to do is either get examples, or I'm going to look at the disputes and see where they're coming from. And my team, we call through all of the disputes to verify them. And it's not that we don't trust our customers, but it's more so, their definition of a good lead might vary from David's definition of a good lead. Did this person reach out and change their mind? Our buyers might see that as an invalid lead, but to us, that was a good lead. People change their mind all the time. And even as business owners, you're going to see that. If I wasn't purchasing leads and I was just advertising myself, people would probably change their mind all the time. So that's something that my team is going to dig into when we're going through concerns and disputes. They said this person's not interested. Were they never interested, or did they just change their mind? We're also, going to be looking for disconnected phone numbers, or people say, I have no clue what you're talking about. Those are all red flags. And then I'm going to take that back to our marketing team with any trends that I find and give them the opportunity to make some changes. And again, I think I mentioned this earlier. When I do that, it gives our customers the comfort that, we're doing something. We hear them, care about their concerns, and we're going to make some changes.
I think to kind of just add to that too, I mean, it comes down to just reiterating expectations, right? At the end of the day, we, as our sales team will tell you, our customer service team will tell you, we try our best to make sure that people that we're bringing on board are a good fit for leads. And in some cases, there's just companies that we're not a good fit for them, and that's okay. But a lot of times people might go into this and they hear everything that they might want to hear, or they might have an idea of what lead generation should look like. And sometimes you just have to walk them back, right? Go back through the economics of it, of, hey, are we meeting your KPIs? Are we showing some sort of a return on your investment? And if so, there's an understanding that we're looking at a big picture, right? It's a bunch of opportunities. We don't expect all of them to close, but if we're seeing us hit your expectations, then we see that as a fair trade-off. So,
yeah, and something to keep in mind too is that the margins that we generate on a lead, even if everybody pays for it, versus like what our client's going to make on that lead, the return is going to be far superior to ours. So I always try to use, I don't know if we should go into the economics thing and dive a little more deeply, but essentially what I prefer to do is get away from the crediting model altogether, as long as our clients are meeting their KPIs. So let's say, for example, they need to sell 3 machines, 3 forklifts, 3 excavators, whatever, 3 machines to make a profit on our leads. As far as I'm concerned, if we've met that criteria, if we hit that KPI, then does it matter what happened to the other 95, 96, 97 leads? So as long as we're meeting those expectations and you're hitting that 50+% return, as far as I'm concerned, we're square. I mean, I think both have to benefit. We have to make money from our leads. Our margin is this, theirs is this. So I think we have to find logical and appropriate buyers for our leads that understand that and do not question it. Now, if we're not hitting the KPIs, that's a different thing altogether.
Right.
But if we are, then I think we're all good.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree more, and I think it goes back to what both of them said where it comes to setting the proper expectations. I mean, we are not selling you sure things. We are selling you possibilities and opportunities. We are putting you in front of people you would have otherwise missed.
and that's not to say that, just because someone's making a profit doesn't mean that we don't always want to increase the quality that we put out there, right? At the end of the day, any feedback is good feedback. We tell our buyers this all the time. If you're having success with stuff, we want to see that. If you're not having success, we obviously want to see that. But any kind of trends we can see, whether they be great, whether they be not so great, all of that goes back into our team and the way we operate to see how we can get them in front of more of the good stuff and less of the stuff that wasn't so great. And if you're hitting your KPIs right now and we can get you in front of more of that, and maybe your sales results are going up and up and up, you're just going to continue to scale with us. So it's in our best interest that our buyers see success, and because so will we at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So
If I sell to someone and I bring someone on board as a buyer, that does not mean that they have lost my number. I will be in touch with them. I will make sure that it is working the way they want it to work. That they're getting the results that they want to get, and then we can work on optimizing the campaigns in their area. We would work through Taylor and the CS team and the marketing team, and we would make sure, like Alex said, we're getting them in front of more of the good stuff.
Yeah, and I think maybe that education and that understanding is probably what leads to a lot of our longer term relationships with buyers is they have that, they grasp that. And
Yeah.
so maybe some people who are new might not get that up front, but I think that's where, your job is powerful because you sort of, again, walk them through that process
Yeah.
and help them understand that. So
No,
this wasn't a question that I had in here, but I just thought of it, and I don't know if you guys want to answer it, but
Here
are
we
there
go.
certain like busy seasons in our different verticals? Like, are there some quarters that are like known to be booming, and then other ones where it's like,
With heavy machinery, the biggest time of the year is basically now through New Year's.
okay,
The reason I say that is because generally you have a lot of warehouse companies that have to exhaust their budget, and if they want to get the same budget to spend or more next year, they have to spend, they have to hit their caps.
gotcha.
That generally happens in Q4. I don't know if you guys were aware of that, but
Yep.
that's the biggest season for every type of equipment. So we'll see our volume increase probably accordingly for those searches.
And every industry is going to have its seasonalities,
Yeah.
right? One I always like to think of is like interstate and intrastate moving, long distance, local and long distance moving. During the summer months, we have a lot of buyers that will reach out to us and say, "Hey, I don't need leads right now," because it's booming for them. They've got everybody's moving. You got people moving into school. You got people moving. Not as many people. There's plenty of people that do, but not as many people are moving in the middle of winter or something along those lines. So, throughout these different verticals, we see some different seasonalities that maybe we'll kind of press on that, right? I know that as soon as it gets to the August, September range, I'm going to have people that I haven't talked to in about 6 months call me up and say, "Hey, do we have moving leads? Do we have moving leads?" And there's a ton of other verticals that are like that, but again, being a little bit of a smaller company, but in some niche verticals and some that are a little bit more popular in lead gen, we've got a lot of different things that have different seasonalities. Some of them don't have any at all, at least that we see, that kind of keeps us going all year round.
So our buyers have that flexibility to say, I'm generating a lot of leads on my own this season. I'm going to hold off. But in 6 months, when business is slower, I would like to they have that flexibility?
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they can sign up when they want and they can cancel when they want. So yeah, they would have that flexibility to do that.
Yeah, we don't have long-term contracts or anything. So if somebody tells me, "Hey, I'm good right now," I love that for them. But we're definitely gonna welcome them back with open arms in a few months when they need us.
Yeah. And you were talking a little bit about how, you have my number. Are you communicating with a lot of our buyers frequently just to make sure you're checking pulse? Are you happy with the quality you're getting? Are there any problems? I guess, Taylor, maybe that's more of a question for you. Are you touching base with a lot of people?
So for the most part, the sales team is going to be the initial account manager for their accounts. Of course, sometimes customers reach out to customer service just because we onboarded them.
Okay.
But we have kind of a 2-week check-in alert. So as soon as somebody makes a change to their account or signs up with us, my team gets a email after 2 weeks, and it's just kind of a notice for us, "Hey, we need to check in. How are you guys doing? You feeling good?" That way everybody gets off to a good start. And sometimes if you don't reach out, you don't really know if somebody's struggling, and then it'll come the next month or even later that month, and they're like, "Well, I want to cancel my account." But maybe if we would have reached out initially and checked in on them, could have prevented it from getting too far.
And that's something that we're actually actively starting to implement now on the sales side of it, is just automating some of the tasks to let us know, "Hey, remember, check in, call," so that way we can stay in front of those kind of issues.
Just to add to that, I mean, I think it kind of varies between the industries as well, right? We talked about with machinery dealers, they want to see, am I selling, right? I'm spending this much, how much am I making? On the more popular home services verticals, a lot of our clients, we have weekly or bi-weekly or at the very least monthly check-ins with these clients to go over what their appointment rates look like, what their cost of marketing looks like, gross sales, net sales, credit declines, things of that nature. So, I mean, yeah, we have to stay on top of this stuff, or like these guys have said, it'll snowball if there is an issue. So,
yeah, the goal is not to get you signed up and have you leave in 3 months. We want continuing partnerships with people who understand the value of what we do because we bring value.
Yeah. No, I think that's awesome. So, what sort of things, I guess, on your end, Trevor, like potential hesitations that people have about working with a lead generation company or lead buying?
People that have used lead generation companies in the past, where they are, using less quality leads, whereas our people have to, go online, go to our website, fill out a web form, and depending on the service, it's a fairly granular approach, especially for heavy machinery. They have to get in there. They have to specify the machinery type. You have to specify dig depth and max reach and weight limits and things like that. So when you are, it's important for us to explain that kind of stuff. And so when we hear people that have said, I've used lead generation in the past, you haven't used us. If you've used it in the past, it means you see the value. You understand what it can do. Give us a shot.
So what sort of advice do you have for someone who might be on the fence, not sure if they want to go into something like this?
For me, I would just say, try everything once to see if it can work for you. As it pertains to our marketing tactics, we try everything. Not everything works. Most things even don't work. But I think everything is worth trying at least once. So I would say it's worth an investment. Again, our heavy machinery leads are $25, right? Our forklift leads are currently $23. So you buy a bundle of 100 or 200 or 300 leads. You invest that. Have your people work them as hard as they possibly can, following our best practices that we preach. Do it the right way and see how it works. And they're going to find that they're going to close. For every 100, they're going to close 4 or 5 or 6 machines. And the profitability is going to be there. It's going to work.
Not to toot my own horn, but our customer service team is amazing too. So
They are.
thank you. So, we're always going to do everything in our power to make it work for our customers. Like David said, give it a try. And if it's not working for you, there's 3 of us in there. They're going to try to find a solution for you. And if it doesn't work out, it's okay. We tried it. And if it's not a good fit, it's not a good fit.
That pretty much covers it. I think that what we do really does provide a valuable service to people that are looking to take the next step. There are companies out there that are comfortable being comfortable, for lack of a better term, and that's fine. If you are a mom and pop servicing your town, that's awesome. I grew up in a small town. It's an admirable thing to do. If you don't want to expand, don't. And we are not the right fit for you because we would bury you with 100 leads and you wouldn't even know where to begin. If you are someone who doesn't want to expand your radius anymore, that's fine. That's awesome. Be happy, be comfortable, be settled where you are. But if you are someone with 12 locations, 3 states, and you're thinking, how do we get bigger? How do we grow? How do we expand from here? Something like this is the answer. This is how you take that next step. And at this point, if you're still on the fence, call us. I'm happy to walk you through it.
We like talking.
Yeah. We love talking. 704-413-3117. Directly to me. I'll talk to you anytime until you're happy.
that's going on Craigslist soon. Just a heads up.
Alex, any final thoughts
I don't know why you
from
think it's not already there.
Another hit show.
Another hit show. Well,
I have one last thing.
please. Sorry.
If anyone that's watching this is looking up, they're finding us maybe organically because they're looking up LeadVision, and anyone out there is looking for a position that has significant digital experience, specifically on the sales side, marketing side, whatnot, we would love to talk to you. We're always looking to grow with the right people.
Absolutely.
For sure.
All right. Well, I think that wraps up our first episode. Thank you so much for listening or watching, listening/watching. We are going to be doing these monthly. So we have a whole bunch of topics laid out that we are super excited to get on the mics and share with you. So we'll leave all of our links to our socials and everything like that in the description. My note cards are falling. But yeah, stay tuned. Bye.